Hi, everybody. Celia Waterhouse here. Thank you for joining us at OnPoint Mentors. Today we have Teresa Syms. Now, Teresa is a professional coach who uses the law of attraction, neurolinguistic programming practices, and cognitive behavioral therapy for depression to help her clients. Welcome, Teresa.
Thanks, Celia. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh, so happy to have you here. I just have one question for you today. And that question is, if you could share just one piece of advice on how you help your clients manage their emotions in this divisive world that we're in right now, what would that be?
Good, very, very good question. I think for what I would say to my clients is to be true to yourself. Don't go into areas that you cannot control or you have no say over, but you do have control over your family life. For example, I would use 3 words to describe what I want to say. And one is focus, one is talk, and one is know. And as in knowing. So focus, number 1, is to focus on what's right in front of you, your nucleus, your family, those that you have a day-to-day interaction with that you can control or they can control with you, how you're going to react to situations, how you're going to do self-care. For example, do a lot of meditation. I know for a lot of people and a lot of my clients as well, they're stressed out to the max right now. They don't know which way they're turning. They don't know why. And it's so confusing and it's creating another ramp up again. So if we can focus on our own homes, what goes on in our own homes, and build the strength that comes from there, either through talking openly with family members, doing some meditation. Guided visualization is exceptional for helping us through these chaotic times. And also just doing what you can for yourself. I mean, self-care is so important right now. And by focusing on all of those aspects that I just mentioned, you will find that you're not as stressed, you're not as anxious, you're not as I'm scared to go. If you don't need to go, I would say, personally, don't go. That's what I'm doing, but that's my decision, possibly not yours, right, Celia?
Right.
We're all different, correct?
Right.
The second part I would say is the talk aspect. Talk to yourself, do self-talk. Tell yourself that, you know what? Maybe I don't have to go to that meeting today because I don't feel 100% safe walking into that environment. If there's another way to do it, like we're doing right now, do a Zoom meeting, do a telephone call, some other way to connect with the individual that you are supposed to be meeting with, but you're not putting yourself in harm's way and you're not putting them in harm's way either. So it's not just a selfish or aspect about self. It's about everyone on the planet. So the third thing I would know or want you to know is to know what your triggers are. And for me, that's so key because I deal with a lot of trigger work. And so if I'm, for example, afraid that I'm going to get sick, then I probably would not go into those situations. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, I have my father-in-law, who's a former military pilot, but right now is at home very ill. He's been in and out of the hospital with heart failure, some cancer, various aspects that are causing him to not be able to keep his mental focus going. However, we can't go. We don't want to go, even though we desperately want to be there to help him. But I'm not going to put myself or him in that situation. I've been in contact with people, going to networking meetings. We've been in restaurants where, you're in an isolated room, you're sitting your distance apart. However, you're still in the room with the individuals. You take your mask off to eat your meal or to drink, however that may be. So there's still a potential there for becoming a carrier or infected. And I know that I will not put myself now into those situations because I do not want to trigger the virus in me or, get it. So I take it to my father-in-law. So also fear is a big factor of a trigger around this as well. Fear is not necessarily fear of the unknown. Sometimes it's fear of we know too much.
Yeah, isn't that true?
Or there is too much, put it that way. So a friend of mine, Tanya McIntyre, she's a former CBC correspondent, news anchor. Years ago, she created what's called the FUD factor. And this is what media is doing to us in a lot of cases. And the FUD factor stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Oh, wow.
So all this news coming from all different sources all around the world, you don't know what to believe. You don't know if it's true. You don't know. You can't discern what's a true piece of information anymore. So what are they creating? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And if we allow that to get into us, then we're going to experience that. The fear itself and the confusion and the, oh, my goodness, it just downslides from there.
Right.
And I think knowing what triggers you, how to cope with it or how to handle it, the situation, you can just say, for example, I was in a car accident many, many years ago, but I'm still triggered at times with a vehicle coming too close to me at a certain angle.
Right.
It will trigger my post-traumatic stress. And it's up to me then, instead of, taking the rapid inhale that we all do when we get afraid, you actually do the opposite. Because when you're inhaling, you're taking all that negative energy from that situation and you're absorbing it into your body.
Okay.
So if you exhale, you're pushing that negative energy away from you. You're repelling it. And in that moment, you tell yourself, I'm fine. Look, I'm okay. I'm still here. Nothing happened. So does that make sense, Celia?
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm picturing, the initial reaction that is automatic.
And you brace yourself.
Okay, so if I do that,
yeah,
just exhale it out.
Absolutely. Try not to do the inhale.
Right.
Just force the exhale and just say,
right.
I'm okay. Look, I'm all right. So now, I think that basically, for me, that's what I would say to individuals is focus on your self-care right now, because that's the most important. If you can't be there for yourself, how are you going to be there for someone else?
Right, right.
And do the talk, do the self-talk, talk to family members, keep everyone open, have open discussions around it. That's how fear is extinguished.
Right.
And to know what you're dealing with, know what your triggers are, and then go from there.
Right. Now, I know we had a little conversation before we started this interview, and you've been in the human resources industry for a while. And we were just saying, the amount of counseling and, coaching and mentoring you've had to do to all these employees, and the fears and uncertainties and the doubts and all the chaos that's going on at work. Do you give them that same advice as well?
Yeah, I would think so. Everyone needs to just find their way. So, for example, I would tell a client of mine, here's the basics of what I teach. However, do your own research. If there's something else there that you can find that helps you, that's fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely. We can have coaches, and I have my own coach, and goodness, I wouldn't do without her. But we have to do a lot of it ourselves as well. Right. So I think does that answer your question?
That does answer my question. And judging from all those books you have in your background, you've done a lot of research.
Yes, the educational ones are on that side. The entertainment ones are in the middle. Those are mine, and my husband's are on the other side. We love to read. We do love to read. And yeah.
I mean, how else do we take in all these different other opinions and values and approaches, than to get it from other people? I mean, it's all here, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Read about other people, read about other opinions and topics, but decide for yourself what you're going to accept as truth and what is not truth.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Teresa. I really look forward to our conversations from now on. And we'll have to get together for that longer interview that we can have on our site.
I would love that, Celia. Thanks.
Okay, we'll speak to you later.